Right now, while you are reading this, someone who walked away from you is standing in front of a mirror they cannot escape. Not a physical mirror. A mirror made of consequences. They see what they threw away. They feel what they dismissed. And for the first time since they left, the weight of their choice is crushing them. Not anger, not excuses, just pure, undeniable regret. This is not fantasy. This is happening. And you need to understand why it is happening now, why it could not happen before, and what it means for the path you are walking. If you feel something shift inside you as you read these words, that is not coincidence. That is recognition. You are exactly where you need to be. Before we go further, I want to thank you, Chosen One, for showing up here. If this already resonates, take 1 second to press like. That small action pushes this message toward someone still blaming themselves for a betrayal that was never their fault. You are not just watching, you are part of a movement that spreads truth instead of confusion. Now, let me be clear. This message is not for everyone. If you have never been abandoned by someone you trusted, this will not land. If you have never been replaced, dismissed, or rewritten out of someone else's story to make them feel better, you can skip this. But if someone you loved turned cold, walked away, or made you question your worth, every word here will cut close. Here is something most people refuse to say out loud. The person who betrayed you did not leave because you lacked value. They left because they could not handle the mirror you held up. Your consistency exposed their chaos. Your depth made their shallow thinking uncomfortable. You were not too much. You were too real. And real threatens people who survive on pretending at the time. It felt like rejection. It looked like you were not enough. But what you did not see was this. The universe was quietly removing someone who would have drained you for years. Protection does not always feel kind. Sometimes it feels like punishment. Sometimes it feels like being abandoned for loving too sincerely. But here is where everything shifts. While you were healing in silence, they were running in circles. While you were rebuilding yourself, they were replacing faces but repeating patterns. While you were learning who you are without needing approval, they were avoiding the same lesson over and over. And now the gap is undeniable. The universe has a ruthless way of teaching. When people refuse to learn the first time, the betrayal they justified comes back as loneliness they cannot explain. The confidence they had when they left you has turned into questions they cannot silence. They thought walking away was freedom. It was not. It was escape. And you cannot escape accountability forever. This is why they are breaking now. Not because they suddenly became kind, not because time healed them, but because clarity finally arrived, and it arrived too late. You did not need to chase them. You did not need to explain. You did not need closure from them. The truth did all the work, quietly, patiently, relentlessly. Look at where you are now. Even if everything is not perfect yet, you are stronger. You are more aware. You are less willing to beg for scraps. You learn to sit with discomfort instead of chasing validation. That growth is what they feel when they think of you. That is the part that destroys them. Because deep down, they know this. If they had treated you right, they would be beside you now. If they had been honest, they would not be haunted by what could have been. If they had valued you, they would not be watching from a distance, wondering how they lost someone they never truly understood. Chosen One, the tears you never saw back then are happening now. The apologies you never received are being whispered in empty rooms. The realization they avoided is fully formed, and there is no undo button. You were not broken by betrayal, you were revealed by it. The universe made sure of that. And chosen one, before we continue, pause for just a moment. You did not land here by accident. Something in you recognized the truth in this message before your mind could explain it. If this is hitting deep, do me a favor. Press the like button if you have not already. It helps this reach others who are still carrying shame for someone else as weakness. And if you feel moved, drop a comment with the number 777, not as magic, not as ritual, but as a signal to yourself that you are ready to see what really happened without the sugarcoating. This is not about chasing anyone who hurt you. This is about understanding why they are the ones falling apart now, and why you are standing taller than you realize. And if the work we do here speaks to you, know this. There is a donation link in the comments. Every act of support, no matter the size, carries intention. And intention blessed with generosity always returns multiplied. Not because I say so, but because that is how energy works. The universe honors those who give freely. Now take a breath. If you are truly a chosen one, something inside you will not let you stop listening. Because what comes next explains exactly why the person who betrayed you cannot run anymore. Number 1. They did not reject you. They identified the threat and ran. You were never the problem. That label was put on you because admitting the truth was harder. You did not fit into their brokenness, so instead of fixing themselves, they tried to shrink you. When a system is sick, the honest one always gets blamed. Not because they are weak, because they are dangerous to the lie. You have felt that heavy pressure in your chest when everything goes silent. The feeling of being surrounded, yet completely alone. You were not imagining it. You were the only real one in a room full of pretenders. They called you too sensitive, too intense, too much. What they meant was this: you noticed things they wanted hidden. You asked questions they feared. You felt deeply in a world that survives by staying numb. Here is what most miss. You did not expose them by attacking. You exposed them by existing. You were a mirror they could not avoid. And instead of facing what they saw, they chose betrayal. That betrayal came from people you trusted. People who smiled while planning your removal. That is what cuts deepest. Not the loss, but the calculation behind it. That realization rewires you. It shows you how long you ignored red flags because you wanted to believe in people who were not ready to be believed in. Number 2, the silence was not rejection. It was preparation. There was a season where everything went quiet. Opportunities dried up, people disappeared, doors stayed locked. You blamed yourself, but that silence was not abandonment, it was preparation. The universe was protecting you from distractions while building something words could not teach. Silence is where clarity sharpens, where illusions die, where you stop performing and start becoming. Most people panic in silence. They fill it with noise, with anything that makes them feel less alone. But chosen ones listen. They sit in the discomfort. They let old versions burn away. That season was not wasted. It was necessary. Here is the truth. The version of you that needed constant validation would not survive what you are stepping into now. That silence removed those versions. Not to hurt you, to upgrade you. Every closed door was a redirect. Every person who left made space for alignment. Every disappointment was a filter. You did not lose anything real. You lost what was blocking you from what is real. That shift happened in the dark so you would recognize your own light when it turned on. Number 3, what hurt you also revealed you. Pain is not punishment. It is revelation. When betrayal hit you, it did not just break your heart. It broke open the illusion you were living inside. You saw people clearly for the first time. You saw patterns you had been ignoring. You saw the difference between loyalty and convenience, between love and performance, between depth and decoration. And you cannot unsee that. That clarity is the gift betrayal left behind. Most people spend their whole lives surrounded by people who do not actually know them. They collect relationships based on comfort, not truth, based on what feels easy, not what feels aligned. You do not have that luxury anymore, and that is not a loss. That is an upgrade. You now see through facades faster than most people notice them. You feel misalignment before it becomes a problem. You recognize energy that does not match words. That is not anxiety, that is discernment. And discernment is a chosen one superpower. Here is what the universe taught you through that pain. Not everyone who smiles at you is for you. Not everyone who stays is stable. Not everyone who says they love you knows what love actually means. And that lesson, brutal as it was, saved you from years of wasted energy. You are no longer impressed by smooth talkers. You are no longer fooled by grand gestures without follow-through. You value substance over sparkle now, and that filter is exactly what you need for what comes next. Number 4. They thought you would break. You evolved instead. They expected you to fall apart, to beg, to chase, to shrink back into something manageable. They thought losing them would destroy you, and for a moment, maybe it felt like it would. But here is what they did not account for. Chosen ones do not break the way others expect. We burn. And what rises from that fire is unrecognizable to people who only knew the version of us that was trying to fit in. You did not just survive, you transformed. The pain they caused became the pressure that forged you into something they can no longer touch. While they stayed stuck in the same loops, you grew past the need for their approval. While they kept repeating the same patterns with different faces, you learned the lesson they are still avoiding. And now the gap is so wide, they cannot even pretend to reach you anymore. Here is what evolution looks like. You stopped explaining yourself to people who were determined to misunderstand you. You stopped defending your truth to people who benefited from your confusion. You stopped waiting for apologies from people who did not even understand what they did wrong. That is not bitterness. That is clarity. That is power. And power is what they feel every time your name crosses their mind now. They thought walking away would humble you. Instead, it freed you. And freedom looks better on you than anything they ever offered. Number 5. The regret they feel now is louder than the silence they gave you then. The person who betrayed you is not living in peace. They are living in echoes. Every time they see someone who reminds them of you, it hits. Every time they try to recreate what you gave them, it fails. Every time they lie about why they left, a quiet voice reminds them of the truth. Regret does not announce itself with apologies. It announces itself with behavior, with late-night thoughts, with scrolling back through old messages, with pretending they are fine while slowly realizing they are not. That regret is not your responsibility. It is simply proof. Proof that betrayal is expensive. Proof that the universe keeps score. And here is what they cannot escape. They know they will never get you back. Not because you are holding a grudge, but because you have become someone who no longer needs what they offer. You outgrew the space they tried to keep you in. Number 6. Your absence became the loudest message you never had to send. You did not need to post about them. You did not need to send paragraphs. You did not need to perform your healing for an audience. You simply disappeared. And that silence said everything. Your absence forced them to sit with their choices. It removed the option to blame you. It eliminated the comfort of your reaction. and for someone who expected you to chase, beg, or break. Your silence was unbearable, because silence is not passive. Silence is a mirror. It reflects back everything someone does not want to face. And the longer you stayed quiet, the louder their guilt became. Not because you punished them, but because truth does not need volume to be heard. It just needs space. This is why they keep checking on you, why they ask mutual friends about you, why they scroll past your name and pause. They are not checking because they miss you. They are checking because they need to know if you are okay without them. And every sign that you are thriving is a reminder of what they lost. Your peace is the proof they were wrong. Your growth is the evidence they cannot argue with. Your absence is the closure they never wanted, and there is nothing they can do about it now. Number 7. The universe does not forget. It recalibrates. Some people think karma is dramatic, lightning strikes, instant collapse, public humiliation. But real karma is quieter. It is watching someone repeat the same mistakes in different relationships. It is seeing someone get everything they thought they wanted and still feel empty. It is witnessing someone realize too late that what they had was irreplaceable. The universe does not need your help to balance things. It does not need you to seek revenge or prove a point. It simply realigns. It removes what does not belong. It returns what does, and it makes sure the lesson gets learned. One way or another, the person who hurt you is learning that lesson now. Not because you cursed them, but because betrayal always costs more than people calculate up front. Here is what they are realizing. Replacing faces does not replace connection. Running from accountability does not erase it. Justifying betrayal does not make it disappear. The bill always comes. And it always comes when you least expect it. You do not need to watch that happen. You do not need confirmation. You just need to keep walking forward, knowing the universe does not miss anything. Number 8. What is coming for you now requires everything betrayal taught you. Everything you went through was training. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment you questioned your worth. It was not random suffering, it was preparation. The universe needed you to learn what loyalty actually looks like, so you would recognize it when it shows up. It needed you to experience betrayal, so you would value real integrity. It needed you to sit in silence, so you would trust your inner voice more than outside noise. What is coming next in your life will not make sense to people who did not go through what you went through. It will look like favor. It will feel like alignment. It will move faster than logic explains, and every lesson betrayal carved into you will be exactly what you need to steward it correctly. You are not stepping into something small. You are stepping into purpose that has weight, responsibility that requires discernment, relationships that demand authenticity, and the version of you that used to tolerate disrespect, ignore red flags, and chase validation would not survive that. But the version of you that survived betrayal and chose growth anyway, that version is built for this. You are ready, not because you are perfect, but because you are prepared. Number 9. The counterattack is coming. Stay grounded. Here is what most people do not warn you about. Right when you start feeling stable, right when clarity locks in, right when you finally stop looking back, something will test you. Old energy will resurface. Old people will reach out. Old patterns will present themselves in new packaging. This is not bad luck. This is the final exam. The universe is checking. Did you actually learn the lesson, or did you just survive the pain? This is where most people fail, not because they are weak, but because they mistake familiarity for destiny. They see someone from the past show up with softer words and think it is a sign. They feel an old pattern pull at them and think it is fate. It is not. It is a test. And the correct answer is to stay exactly where you are. Do not let noise convince you to go backwards. Do not let loneliness convince you to settle. Do not let temporary discomfort convince you that growth was a mistake. What is testing you now is not your future. It is your past, trying to see if it still has access. And your only job is to prove that it does not. Stand still. Stay grounded. Let the old energy exhaust itself trying to reach you. You do not need to fight it. You just need to not respond. Silence again will do the work. Number 10. Not everything that returns is meant to stay. Just because it looks familiar does not mean it belongs in your life anymore. This is where discernment becomes everything. People will reappear with better timing. Opportunities will resurface with shinier packaging. Situations will come back looking like second chances. And you need to be able to tell the difference between restoration and a trap. Here is how you know. Real alignment does not rush you. It does not guilt you. It does not make you doubt the peace you built. Counterfeits always come with urgency, attached pressure, nostalgia, emotional manipulation disguised as fate. If something is truly meant for you, it will respect your pace. It will honor your boundaries. It will not require you to forget the past in order to accept it. If it needs you to ignore red flags, it is not new. It is just repackaged old, and you are not going backwards. Not for anyone. Not for anything. Number 11. When ease replaces effort, something real has shifted. You will know alignment has locked in when resistance stops fighting you. When things that used to take force suddenly take flow. When doors you pushed on for years open with one touch. When people respond to you differently without you changing your approach. This is not luck. This is the result of everything you survived, finally clicking into place. Favor does not arrive with fireworks. It shows up as timing that works, as help that appears without begging, as outcomes that do not drain you anymore. And when you feel that shift, do not question it. Do not wait for the other shoe to drop. Just receive it. You earned this, not because you were perfect, but because you stayed faithful when nothing made sense, because you kept growing when it would have been easier to stay bitter, because you chose alignment over attachment. The universe rewards that, not always on your timeline, but always accurately. Number 12. This is not just a gift, it is a responsibility. What is flowing toward you now is not meant to sit still. It is meant to move through you. You are not a container, you are a current. And current requires direction. You are stepping into a season where standing still will feel wrong, where staying quiet when you should speak will feel heavy, where hesitating when the path is clear will feel like resistance. That is not pressure, that is authority waking up. You are not here to hoard blessings. You are here to circulate them. To speak truth that someone else needs to hear. To move in ways that create momentum for others. To steward what you have been given with intention. And if you feel called to give back in any way, know this. There is a donation link in the comments. Not as obligation, but as alignment. Those who give with open hands always receive with open hands. The universe sees your generosity and matches it, not because of the amount, because of the heart behind it. Before you go, pause. Feel where you are right now. You did not imagine this shift. You did not misread the signs. What you heard today was meant to meet you exactly where you stand. If this message helped you see clearer, press the like button. It helps this reach someone who still doubts themselves. And if you are not subscribed yet, join this family. More is coming. This is only the beginning. You are exactly where you need to be, chosen one. Keep walking.